You could get the impression the British Prime Minister just wanted to sign it as quickly as possible. After putting his name to the more than 1,000 pages of complicated legal language, Boris Johnson seemed upbeat.
Good. Well, thank you very much, everybody. And I want everybody to understand that the treaty that I've just signed is not the end. It is a new beginning, and I think the beginning of what will be a wonderful relationship between the UK and our friends and partners in the European Union. I'm delighted to welcome with us today in number 10. Here it is, folks. This is it. And I know the question you will all be asking yourselves is have I read it? The answer is yes, and it's an excellent deal for this country.
To get their heads around a document like this, members of Parliament would usually require months. But the British lower house pushed it through in just half a day.
521.
Only 73 voted against the deal, which officially puts an end to years of Brexit negotiations.
We're going to become a friendly neighbour, the best friend and ally the EU could have, working hand in glove whenever our values and interests coincide, while fulfilling the sovereign wish of the British people to live under their own laws.
But it comes at a price. MPs from Northern Ireland and Scotland voiced their concerns that the unity of the United Kingdom was now under threat. The opposition Labour Party agreed to the deal, largely because it didn't have a choice.
A thin deal is better than no deal, and not implementing this deal would mean immediate tariffs and quotas with the EU, which will push up prices and drive businesses to the wall. It will mean huge gaps in security.
EU leaders put their name to the deal earlier on Wednesday. It was then flown by the Royal Air Force to Britain to be signed. But with many aspects of the deal not yet final, the saga is not over yet.
Let's have a look at some of the changes that come into force when Britain exits the EU customs union and single market. Free movement of people ends. British and EU citizens will have to apply for a visa if they want to work in each other's territory or live there for longer than 90 days. UK-EU trade in goods. Britain wanted tariff and free quota access to the single market, and it got it. But there is now a mechanism where tariffs could be imposed by the EU in the future if the UK diverges from standards. Customs border in the Irish Sea with Northern Ireland. So Northern Ireland remains part of the EU's single market and customs union. So goods and animals entering there from the rest of the UK will be subject to checks and paperwork. And our correspondent in London, Birgit Mars, has more on what exactly the post-Brexit deal means for the UK.
Boris Johnson has signed the Brexit deal that he has reached with the EU, and Parliament had its scrutiny. However, many critics of this process in Parliament are saying that practically it's not enough. So the MPs only had a few hours to debate this really complex agreement with the European Union, and given the fact that the Brexiteers had always promised that Brexit was all about taking back control and giving control to the UK Parliament, many parliamentarians were very frustrated that they only had a few hours to look into this agreement. However, the deal is done, and Boris Johnson obviously is celebrating the fact that he accomplished taking the UK out of the European Union, that there is more sovereignty, free of, for example, the European Court of Justice. Critics are saying that he is not clear about the trade-offs, that he's not explaining to the country that, yes, there is more sovereignty, but economically there are trade-offs, and even though there is a deal, a trade deal with the EU, that there will be extra trade barriers. For example, for manufacturers, there'll be much more paperwork when they want to deal with the European customers or clients, and that Boris Johnson and his Brexiteers have never made that clear. And obviously, on a day like this, they are not talking about it either.
And I'm now joined by Quintin Peel. He's Associate Fellow with the European Programme at Chatham House. He's joining us from London. Good to see you, Quintin. So, do British people think they got a good deal?
No, they don't, or they don't appear to. The
latest opinion poll that I've seen says that only 17% of the British people think it's a good deal. Something like 21% think it's a bad deal, and far the most people either think they don't know or they just don't care. I think there is a real exhaustion about this whole process with the British people, and even though they don't think it's a good deal, rather more than half of them wanted it to be approved nonetheless.
Quentin, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson says that the UK will remain a partner with the EU, its best ally. I think he said will be the best of friends at some point. What kind of relationship is this going to be?
I think it's going to be pretty bumpy, at least for the beginning, until this whole thing settles down. It's been a fairly poisonous negotiating process for the last 9 months, and before that, most of the people in Boris Johnson's government have a track record of saying very rude things about the European Union. So I don't think it is going to be easy. There's an awful lot that remains still to be done. This deal deals with goods trade and says, OK, they'll be tariff and quota free. There's practically nothing in there about services trade, which is far more important to Britain. So there's an enormous amount actually still to be organised.
So Brexit's led to a growing independence movement in Scotland. How concerned are people in Britain about this?
I think that's going to become the big issue now, is just will the United Kingdom hold together as a union, having left the European Union? The Scottish people voted very clearly, well over 60% to remain in the European Union. And now the Scottish National Party, which voted absolutely clearly yesterday against this deal, they're going to win, I'm pretty certain, the next elections in Scotland and demand another referendum. Boris Johnson's going to try and resist it. So that's one pressure on the union. But the other one is in Northern Ireland, because, as you said in your introduction, there's going to be a new effective border between Northern Ireland and the rest of Britain. Northern Ireland is in future going to be in many ways closer to the Republic of Ireland than it is to the rest of the United Kingdom. And that, I think, is going to raise a lot of new tensions there as well.
All right, that's Quentin Peel speaking for Chatham House in London. Thank you.
Thank you.